In spring and early summer 2026, I went on a South Shore Kingsbury branch craze, trying to catch as many of the local runs as possible, which led to a lot of great footage of engines on this line. We start on April 15th, 2026, in Stillwell, where I caught CSS 2000 leading north. This unit has a slightly earlier version of the standard CSS scheme, which is a lighter orange. Since I've filmed this spot a million times, I decided to go for this unique low angle in the woods, which turned out well. As per usual, the train stopped for a roll-by inspection. This is the reason why I only really ever shoot the South Shore at this crossing, because I get the chance to see this reverse move, as well as the fact it's like the only one in this entire area with decent parking. After the inspection was complete, the conductor got back on and climbed around the nose of 2000 to get back into the cab before the train accelerated with a bit of a smoke show. On April 17th, I returned to Stillwell to get another shot of the local. I knew the power on this day would be 2006 and 2005, units I've seen a multitude of times, so I decided instead of getting a normal shot, to get this unique farther away one. As the train was slowing down, I walked up to the crossing for a closer view of the reverse move. And as the train came back, I got another unique shot, which was a low angle. On April 24th, right before I left for my trip to RHMA's Silvis Train Day, I headed down to Stillwell, because I had gotten word that CSS 805, one of the two SD38-2s, had led the Kingsbury local southbound Longhood forward that morning. I knew it wouldn't be leading on the way back, but I still wanted another opportunity to see it after the last nightmare when I tried to see it. When I got to Stillwell, I noticed that not only was 805 in the consist, but it was also a 3-unit lash-up, which is fairly rare on this line, and the leader was Longhood forward. Not to mention it was 2001, a unit I've never seen leading before, so overall it was definitely worth catching it, despite the fact that I had to awkwardly hold the umbrella over my head because it was absolutely pouring. On May 8th, I was back to catch a very peculiar local. The power was nothing too special, although 2003 was leading, but the real interesting thing was the rolling stock. Behind the engines were normal rolling stock that you'd expect to see on this train. Grain hoppers, coil shields, tankers, and even a CN hopper. But behind that was an extremely long string of empty flat cars of all shapes, sizes, and models. Why? Absolutely no idea. A long time ago, I saw another train on this line with a bunch of empty flat cars on it, and that train was going south. So this one's going north. I don't even know. Did they drop off something in Kingsbury Ordnance Plant? Are they going to pick up something at one of the other stops on this line? Absolutely no clue. But it was interesting to see this unique operation regardless. It would take almost a month for me to get back to the CSS Kingsbury branch, which would happen on June 1st. The train on this day had the exact same engines as last time, although 2005 was now in the lead and 2003 was trailing. Given that I had already seen these engines before, I decided to go for this very unique shot panning across the field. This is the same spot as all the other shots, it's just on the other crossing, which is about 10 feet down from the one I usually shoot at. And it gives this very nice across the field view, which I was waiting for the farmer to plant in before I did this exact shot. Unlike the last time I had seen the local, it did actually stop for a roll-by inspection this time. I wonder if the flat cars being on it prevented them from doing this last time with how long the train was. The engines rolled just up to the crossing and then started up before they fully passed it. And holy moly, the smoke was absolutely insane. Recently, whoever's been operating the CSS Jeeps has just thrown them into notch 8 every time they accelerate from here instead of carefully doing it like they were before. And holy moly, it shows. The next day, on June 2nd, me and my mom were heading down to Walkerton to do some errands. Since I knew we'd have to cross over the CN South Bend sub and the CSX Garrett sub, I decided to bring my camcorder. And, well, we did see a train, but it was not the one I was anticipating. We found CN Local L521-61 switching in Stillwell, interchanging with the CSS Kingsbury branch. For the longest time, I knew that CN and South Shore interchanged cars here, but I had never actually seen it happen. Aside from one occasion where I ran into it by accident and froze my foot in the mud, so I couldn't film much of it. However, on this day, it was a nice sunny summer day, so I was going to take advantage of this opportunity and get as much footage as I could of this move, despite how backlit it was. The engines, too, were really interesting, the leader being a North America Scheme SD40-2 and the trailing unit being an ex-Oakway SD60. Once we got there, we first saw a reverse move, before eventually the engines throttled up and headed out of the small gated area where cars are stored, with a shortcut of tankers. With the tankers now in place, the crew uncoupled them, and the two CN EMDs fully left the gated area and rolled past me as light power. Once the engines had cleared the single point in this tiny yard, they rolled to a stop and the conductor got out to switch said switch to take them around the cars they had just dropped off to pick up a center beam they left on the other side earlier. Once they rolled around the tankers and coupled to the center beam, I was greeted with the insanely rare sight of non-CSS power actually on the Kingsbury branch. Since I've never filmed this local before or since, I don't actually know if this is a normal thing they do or if this is a rare operation, but I've never seen it before. They didn't stay on the Kingsbury branch for very long though before they rolled forward once again. Just as the power of L521-61 left, we were treated to another awesome surprise as a manifest appeared with an SD70M-2 liter and GECX Bluebird ET44 demonstrator trailing second. The next day, on June 3rd, I returned to Stillwell to catch the South Shore local once again. It had 3 engines on this day, so I figured it would be worth shooting. It was the same concept as last time, but of course, they had to throw CSS 2002 in the lead. I absolutely hate this unit because it's the only engine on the entire South Shore Freight roster that doesn't have a cool horn. Every other engine has a rare horn like an RS3K or an RS5T or something like that, but no, 2002 just has a normal horn because the RS3K was stolen. Whoever did that, I hate you even more than I hate this unit, which is pretty obvious because you're the only reason why it's like this. I hope you're ashamed of yourself. This train did stop for a roll-by inspection, but sadly, it didn't reverse far enough for me to get another shot of the engines. On June 10th, we were going down to Walkerton to finish up those errands and just ran into the local. I didn't have the foresight of bringing my camcorder this time, so I had to film with the phone. Disappointing. And for the final trip of this video, we have June 12th. This was a weird one. Now, if you watched my last video, you'd know that I left for Galesburg on this day. Since my aunt was going to be taking me and my brother to Galesburg, we had to go down to her house. And guess what we heard when we were driving through Stillwell? If you guessed the South Shore local, you'd be correct. But since it was the morning, we actually caught the southbound local. I have seen the southbound local exactly once before, so this was very cool, even if it was just one car. And that's all the South Shore Kingsbury local footage I have for now. I hope you enjoyed this extra long video, and make sure to catch those units while you can, especially the ones that don't have their horns stolen, and I will see you in the next video.